think there's a lot of reasons to believe for some of the reasons I was just going over, that we have an AI bubble right now, that there's been a lot of money poured in, a lot of money continue to be poured in. A lot of people want to continue to pour money into it so they can profit off of that. But that very likely at some point the bottom's going to fall out. And we saw this, the people may have heard of DeepSeek, this Chinese technology. It was announced a couple of days after our report release, but basically can match what the biggest AI companies in America, like OpenAI, are doing. And they did it for much, much less money and using much, much less energy and compute power. Um, and so I think, again, there's lots of reason to believe that at any moment the bottom could fall out. And if we have already invested or already planned to, again, delay coal plant closures, build new gas plants, we could be stuck with a big bill on our hands with nothing to show for it. Um, so then the last thing I'd say, there's a little bit of this in our report. Actually, if you do read the intro, we harken back, I think, to the 70s, and there's charts about all the predictions of the ever-growing energy demand, which kept showing not to be true. And I think a lot of folks in this group will know the history well, that here in Illinois, ComEd, when it owned the power plants and built the power plants, overbuilt the nuclear plants. They built much more capacity than was needed, um, based on this idea that we're going to need all this power, and they overbuilt, and that almost wrecked ComEd at the time. It created some of the highest energy bills here in the country. It led to ComEd underinvesting in its distribution network and having terrible reliability for a couple decades. That was only solved after they got involved in a bribery scandal and got themselves super profits in order to finally fix their grid. And of course, now we've bailed out the nuke plants here in Illinois several times over, all from an overinvestment, from the expectation we were going to use more power than we actually needed back in the 80s and early 90s. So I think there's certainly some, not only as Dave was saying earlier, we've talked about that there's some people are talking about reviving nuclear plants or keeping them alive. I think the situation we're in is very similar to a situation we've been in the past.